Hi, look who it is. It's me. Yeah. Sorry, I have trouble not looking at myself. So I'm just here. Hello, everybody. It's Ellen Atkin, MK Ultra Girl. I wanted to do an update because I have been off the radar for quite a while now since I made a lot of transitions in my life that are helping to forward my cause, which is the cause of all trauma victims. Yet that sometimes takes a while to sink in. It's not my problem for those that have a barrier to that because I do make progress, and I think that is evidenced by my campaign and what it's done so far in the zeitgeist, which is the world, which is the body politic, which is also the Holy Spirit. In my opinion, and that's because of my research. I want to talk about the notices that I've given in the last little while that I have to continue to give, and I'll give you some examples so that people can do this in their own life. It might not be as heavy of a burden like I have to bear, but you might not have to give as many. But it's the same concept because effectively now the entire population is being targeted, gang stalked, mind controlled with the psyop of the medical thing. And the medical cult has always been the gatekeepers to the cult. I've stated that for uh, since I went public, and now they're doing it to everybody. So ha ha ha. Now many targets and MK Ultra victims are laughing now because how long have they cried or decried about the state of the world from their perspective about this very thing. So now it is the world's problem, and that is what I'm doing, laying my problems at the foot of the world, and it's getting better. I mean, I'm also getting older, so I'm kind of racing against death, if you might, say. This would be, my last hurrah sort of thing, the best thing I can do before I pass away. And the topics what I'm going to talk about first is on notice, and I've had to give a lot of notices lately because I have been under the I've been targeted by the call my whole life, and that has never stopped. It's part of my natal family on both sides, but it's also in the medical profession. I would say the most. It's a little bit less in the political, and it's definitely as free as it can possibly be in the business world. Business saved me. It really did. It was not education or getting a job. It was business. It was entrepreneurship. It was the freedom to buy and sell. And I did that, and I did it well. And that gave me the autonomy and the independence and the confidence to carry on, so that I could not feel like I was beholden to a system or the government or anything in order to survive or even shelter. I learned how to create my own shelter. So that's what background is on me with why I call myself a badasseter, why I, because I have surmounted a lot of this stuff. But that does not mean that I did not experience the full MK Ultra program as a child. So I never knew anything else but that. You have to remember that I was born into it. There was no beginning. There was no beginning to my gang stalking or targeting. None. I was born into it. That's all I've known. I've just been dealing with it in my own way through my spirit. Now, many people have tried to kill my spirit, told me I couldn't be this way, can't do that, I have to do this, have to do that. And believe me, I tried all kinds of ways, only to be railroaded, gaslit further, or just ruined of my own attempts to follow bad advice from, well, let's call them placeholders, non-player characters is another, NPCs, updated hipster term for the same thing. Placeholders, people don't have a soul, don't have a spirit, don't know how to express themselves, don't have the courage to do it. And that, I would say, is my entire natal family. Also, my mother and father, they held so much back that it created this logjam, fatberg of detritus that I am now, carrying the load of to put on the world as my last hurrah in the life cycle, my life cycle, and perhaps that of the entire world, if you consider these the end times. Now, the notice part. So I have had to put several individuals on notice. That means I write up my own legal notices and then I deliver them. This is instead of tit for tat griping on social media or that type of waste of time and energy, basically. I just write a notice, send it to them, either email or post or any way I can get it to them. And that gives, in a very concise format, without a lot of like, oh, that's the explanation. It's just, this is where you broke the law. This is where you broke. This is what you're doing. This is what's wrong. I don't have to defend myself. I'm just saying you are breaking the law against me, and I'm not going to allow it. And that is really the root of my salvation and everyone's salvation. That's what you have to do. And most people don't do that because they want to believe something's happening. They want to believe in this and that. Well, no, you just got to stand up and fight 100% all the time. And the law is there for that. But most people just don't exercise the law. And I did it on my own. I didn't hire a lawyer. Although I did consult lawyers, I wasn't going to roll the dice and lose like I've done with other lawyers. I just did it myself, and it worked. So I have written several notices to people who are slandering me online. I have written, and that has stopped. And I've written, I had to write a notice to St. Joseph's Healthcare in London, Ontario, on behalf of what was happening with me and my sister. Now here's the big news. I've moved. You can see the background has changed, and my sister has moved from London, Ontario, to be here with me in British Columbia, so I could look after her in her old age, and also these troubling times would make her particularly vulnerable. I mean, she was always vulnerable, but with the way that the doctors are now really going into the mass cycle, good on them, good for you. It's a little overdue, but that's what's happened. So I had to put St. Joseph's Healthcare on London. Now that's the health authority that she was under in London, Ontario, because what happened was, when my mother's family found out, the Kronikins found out that she had moved here, they called her doctor. This was to alert her doctor that this was, oh no, she's with Ellen! That. Now, I think it was instigated by my Aunt Joan, who is a retired nurse. That is my mother's twin sister. And if you follow my story, my mother was a patient of Dr. Ewan Cameron. So was my father. And I do have the records, but that's not what I'm talking about today. The medical records for that's proven, okay? They're with the lawyers. So but she was blackballed gang stalked by her family. And her sister, this Joan Cronican White, was instrumental, and she's the only one left alive. And she is a piece of work. Let's just put it that way. And the black to the white side of things, and she did this in cahoots with, I think, my cousin. So I got all these phone calls from Ruth's team. She had a psychiatrist, a doctor, a nurse, this worker, that worker, blah, 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 a lot of people around her. Now, I spent the last 8 months before by email after that. I'm at 3 months in advance. Trauma-based mind control slave under the system that my parents were also under. Nobody helped her. Nobody helped me or my brother. Nobody helped my parents. Okay? And that is on my family. That is on them. That is just the way it is. They didn't help. They railroaded my mother. Then they consequently railroaded the children. Now, I managed to stay sane. Like, you could call me crazy, but go ahead and try. I have outperformed everyone that ever said I was crazy, and I have outperformed all my peers in this genre since I've gone public, in my opinion, of course. But anyway, because I have a goal, and that's more than just me getting compensation. It's changing the zeitgeist. It's getting the information into the system so that the system will record it and change. You see, all this time, 50, 70 years since the Montreal experiments, since everything's been declassified, it's not a conspiracy theory, no one has told the establishments and their educational faculties that this happened. And so there's no awareness of it. My sister's team never heard of MK Ultra. Don't know anything about you and Cameron. And her doctor graduated from McGill. So one of the benefits of what I did last year by having the rally at the Allen Memorial for the victims of Montreal experiments was that the student faculty was made aware that this needs to be part of their historical record that is part of their curriculum. It can't be hushed up. It can't be swept under the carpet anymore. So one might make the segue that is being done with this mass hysteria cult psyop that the medical profession is enacting illegally against the entire population now. Now, I could go into all the intrigues of that politically, nationally, and spiritually, but I'm not, right? I don't need to. You can figure it out for yourself. So it was a bit of a tricky situation because I was waiting for the records. Now, these records would have cost like $1,500 to $2,000, but I implored the head of St. Joseph's Healthcare to waive those costs because my sister's on disability, and so am I. That's what we're doing. So I am using the social safety net that Canada has, which is pretty awesome, so that I don't get railroaded and my sister doesn't get railroaded anymore. So I don't hold it back. I just drop it on their laps. They can have hysterical fits over it. I don't care. It's not my problem. And that's what my first doctor did in Vancouver when I told him about it in 2016 or something. He literally had abreacted and went, ran out of the room. Yes. And then I had not a very good response, typically similar from clinic in Agassiz. But however, I did get the help I needed, and I got over the hump of having a government audit and having to get all my ducks back in a row. I did that, and I have to give props to the community services at Agassiz. They were great. But you can't expect any medical clinic or doctor to be good these days or in the last 50 years. They've all been lied to, deceived, and misled, and they continue to do that for the most part to their clients. Anyway, uh, that's been what I've been up to. As psychotic and abusive as my father was, I still don't blame him. Oh, that was a fly. And then, I don't blame my mom either. She did, but her sister does. Sleep therapy, on and off her whole life. She did it to herself. Now, her family never helped her. Never. They drove her to the mental hospital. That's what they did. They disinherited her. And consequently, they disinherited me and my sister and my dead brother. But that doesn't get sink into their heads. Yeah. Anyway, placeholders. They're non-player characters. They're zeros in my mind. They have nothing to offer. They're just like, hey, hi. And then what I get and what my sister gets is this lies, just lies. And you're supposed to believe the lie. Well, why should I? I cut myself off from that 30 years ago when I moved to British Columbia and just did my own thing and was successful. Okay? Because there's a lot crazier people out there than me that are way more successful. Come on, if you know anything about the world, like there's so much going on. So, attacking me for being, a good person is like ridiculous. Anyway, with, having come out of mind control and admitting I was under mind control, but nowhere near as bad as most people, because my spirit was always intact as much as it has borne the darkness of, the hell itself. I came out through it, and kept fighting in my own vacuum. The one thing I didn't do was go to the medical profession for help, to the psychiatric profession for help, which is it turned out to be a good thing. Look at what they do to people. They put them in, and then, so they become mind control, so total mind control safe. So that's been good. So we've been working, my sister and I, together, and it's not easy. Can you imagine being like 60 years like that, completely mind controlled, and then drugged and electroshocked, and then mind controlled some more, and then your whole handler situation with the family. Like my mom's family, the Cronikins, are in London, and that's where my sister was. So they did a little bit of like this handling, helping thing, but it really wasn't, it wasn't really helping her. So I had to step in and really help her. And it's better for her. It's even better for me because I get to see the same thing I grew up with in front of me, and that helps me break through my blocks and barriers, which I still have tons of. Okay, I'm not healed. I'll never be healed. I don't even care if I'm healed. All right, that's why I don't like say, oh, this system helped. I mean, maybe it can. I mean, the first thing that helped me in my life was got me into was selling Metal. It was a multi-level marketing health drink. Yeah, like that's what, and it was all about, personal development, and that was like, oh, and I responded to that, and then I went in the new age and all that, right? But that doesn't really have any bearing anymore because of MK Ultra Girl Discovery and the reality of the times and my own decision to do what I've done, which is gone public with my life story and the reality of my family. Now, not too many survivors have the actual physical evidence like I do, or the reality that everyone who's ever known me can attest to. It's not like, oh, I just made it up or read a whole bunch of survivor stories and repeated it, which is what a lot of them do. And I understand that to a degree. There's certainly some cookie cutter formulas that do apply across the board. But when you read it over and over and over again in people's books, it kind of becomes a little bit suspect. And this is where I also got criticized or attacked, because my situation is nothing like any other survivor I've heard. You know, it's not. We didn't. I wasn't an orphan. A lot of these Illuminati kids, these cast-offs of the Illuminati royals, are are orphans. They're sent into this. There's a terrible system among the so-called Illuminatis, which they're not. They're just usurpers. They have usurped the true bloodlines of the true royals, which are the Rh negatives, which are the descendants of the gods, the fallen. That's what it is. Sorry, and they weren't bad. There was one side that was bad, and there was one side that was good. That's the story. That's the story in the Bible, if you really want to look at it. But I'm not going to go into that because that just, gets too many hackles up. But I have resolved that spiritual quagmire in myself through the concept that I would like to call, or borrow from coders, the single source of truth. I'm able to weigh what I've learned against my single source of truth, which is my experience, which is the most important one. How can you deny your experience for a belief system? Like, that's not ever going to work. My experience with scholarly research, exegesis, biblical exegesis. Come on, let's face it. The Bible has a lot in it, but it's, largely misinterpreted for good reasons. Another survivor testimony. And that has kept true with my, anyway, that's still good, so the truth prevails, and that is what has happened. And as much as I have relaxed my campaigns online, that doesn't matter. I've always been an artist, and I've known from early on. In fact, I think I was told as part of my education that it's okay to not produce for a while. You can just say, no, forget it. I'm not doing it, right? And that's what I've done. I've taken all my content offline. It's being reworked into books and the movie and all that. And I've had these real life tasks to deal with, just to keep skating by. But I don't want to live in a van. You know what I mean? And I have, and it was great. But Canadian winters make it really hard. And my health is not great, and either is my sister's. A lot of this, I'm sure, is part of the aging process for victims of these medical experiments, these unacknowledged no-touch torture things. And my nervous system, I've got, you could just see it in my face, right? Right? That is in my whole head. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't care. I had a psychic tell me I had 47 implants. It's just what it is. They're not going to come out, and the doctors aren't going to deal with them now. They might in the future if we keep going. So that's what I keep pushing and pressing. The lawsuit, the Montreal Experiments lawsuit, the class action is dead. It was flawed from the beginning. I do not believe that it will revive. The problem is that it was separated from the beginning by infighting, personality clashes. And there is two lawsuits, and so that just doesn't hold water in a court of law. It's like, if you want justice, if you ask the system for help, then you should be like changing the system to reflect the positive outcome that you want the courts to bring. And that is not at all what the lawsuit has been on either side. It's just been about money. So I'm going to continue to do that. That has always been on my to-do list. I used to call it alternation, but now I'm calling it the Michael Atkin Foundation. It's information. I've been working under that guise for a couple of years. I'm the executive director, and it is to inform and, you know, set public policy, change policy, do the work, do the real work, right? So what I've done online has actually done a lot towards that, changing the narrative. But now I'm going to, and I have also done it officially, but I'm not afraid of the government. I'm not afraid to confront the establishment. That is part of my training. My dad was into politics. He wanted me to be a politician. He wanted me to be the prime minister. I was almost going to do it. So that's one of the reasons why I am, you know, there is some kind of parallel between our family, my family, and the Trudeau family. Now, if you did, you know, bear through MK Ultra Discovery on my YouTube, I make a mistake. I compared our family to we were like the Beverly Hills version of the Trudeau family, but I meant the Beverly Hillbillies version. We were really rough around the edges. Like, you know, we were bouncing off the wall. We yelled a lot, you know. That was just the way it was. I remember one night in Whitevale, we heard the neighbors fighting, and we were like, oh. And we heard them clear as a bell, and we all kind of went, oh, shit, because we fought all the time, like high decibel voices. So, I mean, I guess everyone heard us. Just a little anecdote. So I don't know, nobody's pooping in. I don't know, is there some kind of thing I did wrong here? I'm not sure. But anyway, I don't care about that. Really, this is just for posterity, although it is live. So these notices worked. I basically got them off my back from London, but now I have to reapply everything in BC for this, you know, the social safety net. Now, ultimately, I want the social safety net to include the goals of the Michael Atkin Foundation and to include compensation, because I will not be swept under the rug. Neither will my sister. My mother and father and my brother died for this without any acknowledgement. Well, I will do everything I can to get public acknowledgement for the torture that I and my family underwent and were to this day given grief, anxiety, blackballing, and this campaign of lies. I mean, I know what it means to not live a lie. I know how to operate in business. And yeah, it is mainly predicated on trust and honesty. And to not have that from your own family and be expected to swallow this BS they're giving while they get every benefit from the family farm, whatever was going on, and we don't get anything. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. You're just going to have to back up and deal with the consequences. Like, the world is the judge. It's not me. I'm laying it at the world. I don't care about what my pathetic cousins think of me. I don't even speak to them. I don't have anything to do with them. I don't respect them. I don't respect people who have regular, dull jobs. I don't respect teachers. I don't respect doctors. I don't. I mean, yes, I will if in that profession there's something about them I respect, but as a general overall thing, no. Because anyone can do that. You just freaking put on a mask, go along with the BS, and collect your paychecks. That's it. And you give over your creative entrepreneurial selves. That's what I think of it. I became an entrepreneur. I'm the only one in the whole family. And I had all this stuff against me. And they're all just like that. So, you know, I know I've been harping about them for whatever, but still, they deserve it. You know, they deserve to know that what they've done is wrong. You don't do that to people. So I got that. Oh, Emma, hello. Thank you. It's nice to see somebody in the chat. So yeah, this of course they'll make this public. It is no impromptu. So yeah, the notices, I have more notices to give. I've had some more copyright infringement I've had to give notices on. What else? Just some internet fraud I ordered from a website that it's fraudulent, so I have to do that there. And of course the whole scamdemic thing that's going on, that's also on the list. Notice, I do not consent, blah, blah, blah. There's certain websites and organizations that also have these notices. I just make them up myself, sign them, write them. I don't even sign them if it's digital, right? It's like, well, you don't have to really be that dotting T crossing I's thing. It's not as bad as that. You just set your intention, and if they want to fight you more, then you can go that way. But most, if they're smart, they'll back down. So, and I'm not talking about the internet loons, but I'm talking about real establishments, real businesses, and governments, and like St. Joseph's Healthcare. So they backed down. And we got the records, and everything got sorted that way. Now we don't get any help, but from them, well, that was help. Free records. Look at them all. So, but we actually need help. We need healing. Is there anywhere you can? I've been doing is under that auspices, and will going forward, and hopefully before I die, it will be really established and will carry on as the legacy for my MK Ultra family with all the proof. Not me crazy. The proof. Why do I have? Oh, sorry. I don't know why. I do have a good connection. It says it's buffering. Well, I'm going to cut it off anyway. I think that was all I wanted to talk about, basically. So, thank you. Okay, bye.